Hi everyone, Susie here. I'm here to present to you a new CBE lesson. And today we're going to be talking about someone who is very important right now. And that is the community helper. Now, community helper is a word for a lot of different types of jobs, but all of those jobs have one mission. And that mission is to help our community. And right now, our community helpers are very important because as we face this coronavirus that we're all facing, it's the community helpers that are helping us to get through this process. And without them, I don't know what we would do, right? I certainly don't know what I would do without all of the doctors and nurses who are right now putting themselves second to their patients. Those people who are doctors and nurses are leaving their homes every day to take care of somebody else's family, and they're working very long hours, and they're not getting the sleep that they need, and they're not able to see their families because when they go home, they can't mix with them because they've been exposed to the virus. So in order to keep their families safe and healthy, they have to stay away from them. So if you think that this process is difficult for you, imagine how difficult it must be for those families. So while doctors and nurses are at the forefront, that means that they're right there, they're on the front lines of this coronavirus fight that we're all fighting. There are many other community helpers who are also involved and who are helping us in this fight at this moment. So I'm going to go over a few of those. And if you can think of any that I did not mention here today, please feel free to let me know. I'm also going to ask you that once we've learned the community helpers that I'm going to be discussing today, who they are, if you come across one, if you happen to have one in your family, which I'm sure most of us do, thank them. Thank them for their service. Thank them for what they're doing for all of us right now. So the first community helper that I'd like to discuss is a doctor. And a doctor is someone who is licensed to practice medicine. And there are many different types of doctors. Some of us have maybe a cardiologist. Some of us have maybe an allergist, like I have, because I've got bad allergies. Some of us have, we all should have dentists, but veterinarians are also doctors, and they're also community servants. Our pets, our beloved pets, also need doctors, and they need someone to look out for them. Even during the coronavirus, our pets can get sick, and they'll need help. So a lot of veterinarians are finding new ways to be able to take care of your pet. Nurses. A nurse is a person who is educated and trained in the care of the sick. And there are many different types of nurses. There are practical nurses, there are registered nurses, there are nurse practitioners, and there are physician's assistants. And when you're sick, and suppose you have to go to the hospital, the nurse is the one who takes over your care for the most part. The doctor will come around, they'll look at your test results, they'll give you a diagnosis, they'll tell you what's going on with you and how they can fix it. But the person who actually goes through the process of giving you your day-to-day medication and making sure that you're okay day to day and monitoring you is the nurse. So nurses are very important. Right now, many nurses are helping us to fight this coronavirus by taking care of patients and making sure that we are separated from one another when we're in the hospital, that the people who have the coronavirus are kept separate from people who do not, so that people who go into the hospital for a different reason, maybe you are having heart palpitations, or your blood pressure is high, or you have appendicitis, those people cannot and should not mix with people who have the virus. So nurses are very important at the forefront of this battle against the coronavirus. A paramedic. Paramedic is a person who is trained to assist a physician in giving first aid and in other practicing giving other health care in the event that there is not a physician present. A physician being a doctor. So what happens is, if you get in trouble at home, if you get sick at home, and you don't feel that you are able to drive or be transported to the hospital in a regular car, then you call the paramedics. And you all know that the number to call is 911, correct? So it is important that you understand that paramedics usually form part of the fire department. And a lot of times, paramedics are also firefighters. But when they come into your home, their job is to gather as much information as possible about what is wrong with you, so that when you do get to the hospital and you are handed over to the staff at the hospital, they know exactly what is wrong with you and they're able to help you. A firefighter. A firefighter is a part of the same force as a paramedic usually, and they are a person who fights destructive fires. Firefighters are always on duty, as are also paramedics. Those guys work so hard. And when I say they're always on duty, I don't mean that a particular firefighter is always on duty. I mean that they are generally always available. So they keep staff over 24 to 48 hour periods, which means that for a firefighter or a paramedic's family, they're not going to see their loved one for long periods of time, because they are busy being community helpers and providing us with the help that we need. Postal worker. Bet you didn't realize that postal workers are community helpers. And a postal worker is somebody whose job it is to carry the mail, or the post as it used to be called. So the next time you see your local postal worker, wave at them, as we now have to do from a distance, and tell them thank you, because postal workers are continuing to work through this crisis, and they're continuing to offer us their service of delivering the mail. And it is a very, very important service. Grocer or a grocery store clerk. One of the few businesses that is able to remain open right now is your local grocery store. And the reason for that being is that we've got to eat, right? So your local grocer and your grocery store clerks are community helpers. And right now they're being very heroic for the same reason that nurses are being heroic, and doctors and paramedics and firefighters. And that is because, believe it or not, right now in the situation that we are in, they are putting their health and safety behind yours. They know that in order to remain healthy and safe, we all need to eat. And they are providing that service even though they know that they are running the risk of getting sick themselves by coming into contact with someone that is ill. So the next time you go to the grocery store, maybe you go with your family, maybe you go with your group home, thank your grocers, thank your grocery store clerks, thank the managers, thank the butcher, thank everybody in that store that is working, because what they are doing is not easy, and they are taking a risk with their own health to make sure that you and I can have food. A pharmacist. A pharmacist is a person who is licensed to prepare and hand out medicine. And in a pharmacy, there is also pharmacy staff. There are people who are there to take your prescription for your medicine and hand it over to the pharmacist to prepare. And they're also there to help you find the right medicine for whatever you're feeling. So, for instance, I recently ran out of my Zyrtec, which is what I take for my allergies. When I go to the pharmacy, if I cannot find it, I might ask a pharmacy clerk, where is your Zyrtec? If they're out, I can ask a pharmacy clerk to please let me know what other alternate medicines they have that can maybe help me with my symptoms. It's the same if you have a cold. You can ask a pharmacy clerk what would be the best thing to take if these are my symptoms, because where they work with all of the available medicines, so they know and are familiar with what could be helpful for what specific symptoms, right? So a lot of us have prescriptions that we need filled. Our local pharmacist does that, and they are also community helpers. Right now, as we fight this epidemic, they are still open for business. Pharmacists are still showing up and going to work as our pharmacy clerks in order to ensure that if you or I get sick or we don't feel very well, that we can go to them and get whatever medicines it is that we need in order to feel better. So the next time you walk into your local pharmacy to refill your prescription, or a prescription of a beloved family member perhaps, make sure that you thank your local pharmacist, because again, at this moment, they are putting their health and safety behind ours. They are providing for us at a time where they could very easily say, I'm not going to work because I don't want to get sick. I don't want to expose myself to the virus. Military personnel. Right now, the military is doing a great job of helping our own homeland. We all know how heroic the military can be in times of war, and how they will put their personal safety aside in order to make sure that all of us here in the United States of America and different militaries from around the world, in Europe or wherever your military family member might be from, making sure that we are safe, we are happy, we continue to be free, and they're willing to fight for that. But right now, we're using our military to help us fight the coronavirus. And how are we doing that? The military is in charge of setting up hospitals, making sure that the testing sites are running smoothly and that we are keeping safe distances from each other. They are helping us to deliver life-saving equipment and medicines to places that need it to fight the coronavirus. So the military is being a great resource in this fight against the coronavirus. Military personnel is a person who serves in the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Coast Guard, the Air Force, or the National Guard. There are many different branches of the military, and we should thank every single one of them. Usually they're very specific in what they do. For instance, the Air Force, of course, are up in the air, flying planes, fixing planes, and supporting our ground troops from the air. The Coast Guard guards our coasts. The National Guard guards our country in here. And then we've got our soldiers, the Army and Marines as well. However, during times of crisis, the military can step up and do a lot of different jobs. So the next time you see someone in uniform, thank them not just for their service, but specifically for the fact that they have stepped in and they are helping us with this situation that we are in right now. They are also sometimes called to keep the peace in times of what is called civil unrest. And that means when things are going a little bananas, they might be called to step in and help with that. Police officers. A police officer is a person who belongs to a local force whose job includes maintaining order, preventing and detecting crime, as well as enforcing laws. So a lot of us know police officers stop crime, but police officers can also be helpful in different types of situations. They might keep the order, for instance, at the youth fair, or they might be called upon to provide extra security at a party, perhaps. Police officers are also very helpful, for instance, if you are lost somewhere. So if you ever become separated from your group, you can look for a police officer and they will very happily help you. So the next time you see a police officer, thank them for enforcing the laws that keep us all safe, and thank them for keeping the peace, keeping the order. So now I'm going to ask you for the next few minutes to work on a special assignment. A lot of us have been hearing how hard doctors and nurses are working in our community. So I'm going to give you the option of putting together a card that you could pass around to each member of your family so that they can all sign it. Putting together a card that we can make deliverable to a hospital. I have a very good friend who is a head of nursing at Baptist Hospital. And I would love nothing more than to be able to take her a little bunch of cards from the WOW Center individuals thanking the nurses, doctors, and staff at the hospital for the great work that they are doing keeping us all safe. So, having said that, you can grab some construction paper. Most of us have construction paper in our homes. And if you need help, ask for the help of a staff member from your group home or a family member. And what we're going to do is very simple. We're going to take the paper and we're going to fold it in half. Like so. And it could just be a blank sheet of paper, guys. They're not picky. But it would be a very nice and thoughtful thing to do for one of our community helpers. Once you folded it in half, you've got a card. You see? On the outside, I'd like you to draw a picture. Maybe you want to draw a picture of a nurse or a picture of a doctor or a picture of anything, really, a tree if you want, a rainbow, any picture that is cheery, that will make them feel good for what they're doing, right? And thanked. And then on the inside, you can write your message. On the inside, you can write, thank you for helping us, or hang in there, we know it's hard, or I wish you well, I hope you stay healthy. Any encouraging message that you want to write will be welcome, I'm sure. If you are inspired by other community helpers, feel free to make many cards to any number of community helpers. Maybe you have a teacher in your family who's working very hard with virtual learning, teaching young kids or adults. Write them a card. Maybe you have a favorite teacher. Maybe you want to send Miss Carolina or Carlos or Coach Mo or Barbara or Jessica or any of our instructors or Natalia or Sarah, any of our staff, a thank you. Feel free to do that. That's, I'm sure, would be more than welcome. Or maybe, you know, a police officer or a firefighter or or your local grocery store clerk, and you want to say thank you. Feel free to make as many cards as you like, because right now we all need to come together. And the more we are thankful of our community helpers, then the more inspired that they are to continue to really be their best even when they're tired. So that is your assignment. Attached to this week's email, there will also be a couple of worksheets that I would like you to work on. Feel free to send me pictures of your worksheets completed so that I can see what a great job you're doing. In the meantime, until next time, make sure that you wash your hands on the tops and the sides and the thumbs. Just because we've been quarantining for a while doesn't mean that we need to stop putting those good and healthy practices into effect. So make sure that you keep washing your hands. Make sure that you keep that social distance. Even when you're at the grocery store, if you see someone walking towards you and getting a little bit close, move away. It's okay to say, excuse me, let's remain 6 feet apart, please. Okay? I've seen lots of people at the grocery store doing it. And if you have the ability to, wear a kerchief or a mask over your face when you're out in public to protect others as much as to protect yourself. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed your lesson and I hope you enjoy your activities. I can't wait to see those cards and I can't wait to see pictures of those worksheets. Have a good day. Bye.